Welcome to today's discussion on protecting older adults from scams and fraud. I'm Walt Laskos. Joining me today for our discussion is Chief Norman Crepeau from the Grafton Police Department. We have with us Shannon Smith. She's a geriatric certified specialist and director of the Council on Aging for the town of Grafton. She's with us, as well as Karl Moisan. Karl, thanks for joining us. Karl is president and CEO of Homefield Credit Union. You know, for the next 20 to 30 minutes, we hope to give you a preview of what you can expect to be coming up on June 6th at the Grafton Senior Center, when Homefield Credit Union, in partnership with the center, hosts an educational forum to address the impact of financial scams and fraud that are affecting older adults in the community. And we're going to have a number of folks that will be joining us for this educational forum from the AARP, the Secret Service, and they will all be sharing their knowledge and their guidance on ways to keep older adults safe from becoming a victim of scams and fraud. A complimentary luncheon will be sponsored by Homefield Credit Union afterward for all the attendees that are in the forum and also for the discussion. Older adults, their caregivers, family members, all are welcome to attend. Seating will be limited, however. So we ask that you make your reservation by calling the Grafton Senior Center at 508-839-9242. And with that, let's get our discussion going and talk about what we can expect when we address the facts and figures that are attacking older adults today with scams and fraud. Let's start off with you, Karl. Why is it important for Homefield Credit Union to sponsor a discussion like this about elder financial exploitation?
Thanks for having me, Walt, first off. And it's kind of twofold. There's a personal side of this for me. Both my mom and my mother-in-law have been, quote-unquote, attempted scams onto them. They've gotten the phone calls, they've gotten the computer messages, emails, things like that, saying, send this money to let your grandson or granddaughter out of prison, all these type of things that have happened. So it kind of struck home when we've seen a number of circumstances within the credit union with, elder adults coming in and trying to take money with, large sums of money out of the credit union for no apparent reason other than and they won't tell us why. So there's been a lot of this taking place, and it seems to be more prevalent now than 3 or 4 years ago. So we took the opportunity to partner with the Senior Center, and we thought it was going to be a great idea.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's interesting that you say that, because it seems that data all across the country is pointing to the fact that all these financial scams and fraud, they're just on the increase and they're just running out of control. Chief, what are you seeing going on in our town of Grafton? Are you seeing an elevated number of these kind of scams taking place?
We average probably two to three a week.
Oh my.
Different types of scams. Yeah, not necessarily all elderly, but they are definitely the targeted victims. So we're on the lookout for that. And I want to commend Homefield and other institutions also, not just banks, but some of the stores around that have that sell gift cards and whatnot, to alert.
You hit it with the gift cards.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. Some Bitcoin gift cards, whatever. They're not looking for cash naturally, which is surprising. But we want to commend those institutions that have their employees trained to spot somebody that's trying to take out large sums of money, and just question them and see why. Not to be too intrusive, but it's to help them. And we've gotten several calls, Homefield and some other, like I said, stores, saying, hey, this is not right. This is a large sum of money. This person never did this before. And they gave us a call, and I've been on some of the calls myself, and the individual, in this case was elderly, thought everything was legit. He was doing the right thing, and because he was convinced by the caller, saying, oh, this is what you're going to do. You got to send me this money, these gift cards or whatever. And it took us a while to talk to that person. We had to get in touch with the family, and he could have told us, listen, I'm done. I don't want to talk to you, but The officer that responded, the initial officer, persevered, and we saved this guy a lot of money.
Oh, good
And a
for
lot of
you.
aggravation.
Good for you and,
so-
and for the force, because when you think about it, a lot of times it's convincing the older adult in cases like that, that you are being scammed because
Yes.
they just want to believe that, oh, no, I'm not, Shannon, what does it mean for the senior center to be partnering with Homefield Credit
Yeah,
Union
it's,
on this?
we see a lot of it too at the senior center where we have a lot of folks that'll call in saying, I just got a call from SNAP, which is the food assistance benefit, asking for my social security number. Should I give it to them? And anytime we get there, we say, absolutely not. Do not give your social security over the phone. And we have to always be reminding them, sounds like it could be a scam. Don't bother with it. And then if you really need to get in touch with them, you call them and see what they need. And so it's so important for us to get that information out that scams are ever evolving. The older adult population is such a vulnerable population to the scam. So I'm very excited to bring this presentation in.
And I think it's also very important to mention that in cases like this, that for all of you who are watching, you look at the resources that are here. We have Shannon at the Senior Center. You have Chief Crepeau with the Grafton Police Department. You have Karl over at Homefield Credit Union. If you're ever in a situation where you're wondering, this sounds fishy to me, or you suspect you're uncomfortable or something, these are resources that you could, don't react to them, don't work out of emotion, but pause, take a moment, contact one of these specialists right here who are willing to help you, and they will provide the guidance that you need to help you stay safe and protect yourself from losing money. Karl, in the situation over at Homefield Credit Union, you mentioned so there are some members that you've heard from that have come in and said, hey, I lost money.
Or are about to lose money. As Chief said, it's 2 or 3 times a week. We probably see it every other week. And this is large amounts of money. We're talking $15,000, $16,000, $17,000, $18,000.
Jeez, and for older folks, I mean, that's
it's part of their
sizable.
life
That's
savings.
what you're living
Exactly.
on, for God's
exactly.
sakes.
It's life savings, and it would definitely leave, I like to say, leave a mark on the individual if they lost that much money to a scam. So yeah, we see it all the time being every other week. We've had some really good success in preventing things like that happening. As Chief said, that we'll make the call if we think we can't intervene as much as we'd like to. We bring in the police and let them know. A lot of times there's embarrassment and there's concern about telling somebody that they're just going through the idea that they don't want to tell anybody what's going on, and it's a terrible way to go about it. Mm-hmm. And the more upfront you are with the staff and the people that are concerned and asking these questions, to Chief's point, we don't want to pry too much, but on the other side of it is our antennas go right up when there's large amounts of money, or they want to send a wire to out of the country or to Iowa or wherever. We get those circumstances all the time, and it ends up 99% of the time being fraud.
Mm-hmm. And I think in cases like that too, and for all of us, I'm sure that you've seen situations like this, where if someone comes in, or someone, I should say, is telling you as an older adult, or anyone, as a matter of fact, even a younger person, that, oh, don't say anything to anyone, just tell them you want the money. As soon as people say, keep quiet, don't explain it, suspect that you're being scammed. I mean, that's one of the signs, I think, that we can all point to. So, Karl, at the credit union, what specifically, I take the staff goes through training and all that to, identify these kind of cases. Share a little bit something about how that takes place.
So, through the credit union associations, we've been able to obtain real in-depth training programs that we and our entire staff have taken, especially our frontline staff. We became a certified AARP as a program.
That's right, BankSafe. Is what they run. That's right.
It's been something that we're proud of, and I think the idea that we know that it was occurring, and to have a trained staff have their awareness brought to the forefront of things, it's been tremendous.
Yeah, and I think it's fair to say too that Homefield Credit Union, they train their tellers along these lines to be very sensitive to and spot opportunities where someone might be coming in and saying, I want to withdraw $10,000. They're going to ask questions. The teller will ask her questions like, well, where's the money going? And they're only doing that to help protect you when you walk in so that you are not falling victim to a scam. And it's also fair to say that in addition to Homefield Credit Union, other credit unions, banks, all the financial institutions today are doing the same. And it's all for the protection of older adults and for all the citizens, basically, of Grafton and throughout the country to keep them safe from harm. Chief, we read stories today about all these scams. We got the lottery scam where they tell you that, you want a lot of money, but you need now to send us, thousands to pay for the taxes before we can send you the big check. Or you hear the IRS scam is a popular one about, you owe money for taxes, and we're going to come and arrest you. That sets off buttons. Computers, you'll see someone going on their computer and all of a sudden a window pops up and says, you have a virus. Click here to fix it. I have to say, I know someone who did that, and it costs money. So there's all kind of scams taking place today, and from everything that you're seeing out there in the town of Grafton, is there any one or two particular scams that might be more prevalent than the others?
The most prevalent we had, I won't say recently, well, recently it's still happening, was the unemployment scam, which occurred, that came out during COVID, and we're still getting people that get reports or letters from their employer or whatever saying, hey, did you file for unemployment? No, I didn't. Well, somebody did, and now they're getting benefits.
So,
and all
give
that.
us
So
a
that
little more
happens.
details about that scam.
Well, unfortunately, the thing with that is they have their identity compromised somehow, some way, because somebody wasn't careful. And you don't need a lot of information, I guess, to put this through. So the victim only finds out when they get a call from Social Security, when they get a call from unemployment office, or from their employer saying, hey, you know what, you're getting benefits, so what's going on? And then they file the report. And that, like I said, that was prevalent during, we were getting probably 10 to 12 a week.
Whoa.
During COVID, during the height of COVID. So that's waned down a bit, but it's still happening. And the big thing there, as I mentioned, it's not a scam where they contacted the person to fill out a form or whatever. It's their identity was compromised, and it was through all walks. So it wasn't just elderly, it was a lot of people were getting that. Somehow, some way, their identity was compromised. Either they posted too much information on social media, which I see that all the time. Their name, their date of birth. Sometimes they have their address. Addresses are hard to look at if you could to find. They basically, these scammers just contacted the unemployment office, sent the form. It's nice because it's online.
Yep. Well, when you say 10 to 12 a week, I mean,
we were getting
how much money may have been lost through some of those scams?
And the only thing, it's not a good thing, but the people whose identity was compromised and the unemployment that was filed was paid though from the unemployment. It wasn't taken from the accounts of the victim, but now the victim had their identity out there and was ripe for other types of crimes.
And they probably lost that money and they're out of luck now.
And Social Security or unemployment lost that money. But it all trickles down, no matter what. And the biggest thing we could tell people, because this wasn't happening, it wasn't somebody in the town of Grafton in their basement filling out all these forms. This was perpetrated by people out of state, maybe even out of country. And I don't know where the investigation's leading on this right now. I understand some people were arrested, but it still happens.
Wow.
And we just tell the people you got to recheck your credit scores. Check with the 3 companies that do credit scores. You got to make sure every couple of months check your credit again. Check your bank accounts, check your passwords, change them, and other information, and get your name off social media. If you're going to use your name, fine. Don't put your date of birth on there. Don't put your address. Don't put other identifying information, because that could be used, to create passwords.
Oh, for certain, yes. Yeah. I mean, you see so much of this today where, there's so much online that folks are putting, particularly about their grandkids, and their family. And that's where the grandparent scam comes
Exactly.
up. Where you have, an older person getting a phone call saying that, it's your grandson or your grandchild, saying that they've been arrested and they're going to be put in jail because they got in an accident and they hit someone and that person's a woman and she's pregnant, and please send money, a lawyer's going to call you. It's like textbook. It's the same
Exactly.
everywhere, right? Do you get any of those kind of
Oh, yes.
posts, right?
Yes. People are getting wise to those now, but I've spoken with people, and that is one that targets especially the elderly. And, the big mistake when they get this call is, hi, Grandma, this is your favorite grandchild. Oh, is this Billy? Yeah, it's Billy. You gave him the name to use.
That's right.
But as you said, if they're on social media, they can go on social media, see the grandchildren and all that, and then they call up and they, as you said, they say it's the police department calling. He needs bail. It's a lawyer. He needs a retainer. For me to get him out of jail or whatever.
Right.
And we've had a few people that come in and they argue. I've argued with some of them because they're saying, "Oh no, this is true. He had the name. He had the right name, and he called me by my right name, so it's got to be him." But so I said, "Why did you come here then? If you felt it suspicious." Well, I just wanted to make sure. Did you call your grandson? Did you try to ask if they were okay? Well, no. Give him a call.
There you go.
Call. But he told me not to call because my parents will find out that I was in an accident or I was arrested. And I said, don't worry about it. Call. They're probably not even down in Florida because that's where they, if you're in Grafton, Mass, well, this is taking place down in Georgia, in Florida, in Texas, whatever. And call to find out if they're in Texas or Florida or Georgia, whatever. And, of course, it's a scam.
Yep, and the scary
It's a scam.
part today, Chief, is that a lot of these scammers, you know what they're doing? Because Billy may have, videos on, they could get a sample of his voice, and they use artificial intelligence to make that phone, that Billy, when they call the grandparents, sound just like Billy using his voice. And that's how they trick the older adult into thinking that's really their grandchild.
That's up and coming now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
From what I
are
understand,
you guys seeing some of the occurrences of that? It's awful.
Well, as I mentioned, both my mom and my mother-in-law both got those calls.
Oh, God.
Yeah, and they called. My brother's CEO of a credit union as well, and we both got the calls. And no, don't do anything. And well, can we verify that I'm sitting right across from them, or we're at home with them, and you don't have to worry about it. But sure enough, they got those calls.
Jeez. Shannon, you do a lot of work at the senior center that focuses on the well-being of older adults. Tell us a little bit about some of the programs that you offer at the senior center, and how does that dovetail in with, a lot of what we're doing here in terms of education to protect seniors from scams and fraud?
Yeah, we have a thriving senior center in Grafton.
That's right,
It's
you
an
do.
awesome community. It's a great place. A lot of social and recreational activities. Everything from different card groups and a knitting group to daily exercise classes offered for all different levels with the ability to adapt to those that join the classes. And then we also have been bringing in a lot of education, a lot of health education and things like that. And then this just rolls right into it, where financial education and financial wellness is so important, especially as the older adults get older and their income is so limited. We want to make sure that they are able to thrive on whatever they make and not lose money to a scam.
Working with a lot of older adults, I think it becomes very important for us to really be able to connect with them, build a relationship of trust, so that when we provide guidance and we talk about, these different kind of scams and what they should do to stay safe becomes even more important and relevant. Is there anything that we should be focusing on in particular that, when you're dealing with an older adult on how to communicate, how to reach out, how to engage them, to build that trust?
No, I would say talk to them like anyone else. I think a lot of times we tend to oversimplify things and offend people, and there's no reason to do that. And really just meet them where they're at and talk to them however they want to be talked to.
And Chief, what is your advice to anyone watching who might be reluctant to call the Grafton Police Department to report the possibility that they might be scammed or they're a victim. Because a lot of times in my work with a lot of older adults, I've heard it, and I've been doing work like this in New Hampshire, in Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and even in Delaware when I was working for a credit union trade association. And a lot of times I'll hear when we have discussions like this at the local level where, well, the police, they're busy. They're fighting crime. They're doing other things. They don't have time for me to call and report. I mean, what's your advice to folks that might feel like that?
Well, you can't stop somebody from being embarrassed or, feeling like, I lost my dignity or whatever because I gave all this money, and it happens to everybody. As I mentioned before, it's not just the elderly. So they have to realize that, and they have to just give us a call. And we're not too busy. I mean, we are busy, but we're never too busy, especially to help someone out that's been scammed. And just give us a call. We take a report. As a matter of fact, there's online reporting, and in situations, as I said, this isn't international. This isn't just somebody doing this out of the basement in Grafton.
That's right.
So it makes prosecution difficult. But by reporting it, we know about it, and we also, when we do take a scam complaint, we also give instructions to the victim to contact either the FBI. They have an internet crime complaint center, IC3 it's called, or the FTC, which is the Federal Trade Commission, and we encourage them to contact them. Now it's on a national database, so believe me, when a person is a victim of a crime like this, they're not the only one.
That's right.
There's hundreds, there's thousands, not only in Massachusetts, but all over the country. And the more information we have, that person, the victim, might have just one bit of information, a phone number that slipped through that they can, they copied down, or something that was said in an email that they got, or a letter that they received. And turn that over to us, or to the FBI, or to the FTC, and they can piece together those little bits of information, little clues that will help them bust up this ring that's doing these scams.
Well, in my work, I should say a lot of the education that I got on this topic, it was with the FBI, the Secret Service. I have ties in with the FTC, and so many times I've heard that. In Asia, for example, there are like warehouses of people being forced to make a lot of these calls. Right. So and when you think about it, these crimes, they're making billions of dollars. So they're making billions, and that's basically on what we see being reported right now. I saw something in the paper just the other day that the FBI is saying that in 2022, there was like $4 billion, I believe it was. Is that what they're saying was accomplished through these perpetrators? But then you look at it, and there's a lot more folks who are not reporting it because they're embarrassed. So we know it's more than $4 billion.
Exactly.
So when you see all that stuff going on, it becomes so important that if you are or feeling victimized, please do call the Grafton Police Department. Let them know, because in many ways, right, the folks out there, they're your eyes and ears, and you count on them to know what's really going on in the community. So when they feel threatened in any way like that, they should be informing the police department.
Exactly, and it's the old adage now that we've had for many years: see something, say something. And it's also, I think, incumbent that the relatives, the kids of the elderly, should be saying something. We put out, Grafton Police puts out information quite often on social media, our local Grafton News and whatnot, and we try to get it out there. So, and not everybody reads it naturally, but somebody that has an elderly parent or grandparent, whatever, or even a neighbor, and you see this, hey, I'm going to check on my neighbor, I'm going to check on my grandmother. Have you heard about this before? Have you ever gotten any calls? And you'd be surprised when they say, yeah, but I hung up. A lot of people won't answer the phone anymore if they don't recognize the number, but a lot of people still answer the phone. So, but they get the information, just pass it on. That's all we ask, just pass it on.
I think you make a good point here too, because what we really need is for everyone to be a good Samaritan. We're all familiar with the story of the Good Samaritan. And we need to look out for one another. And when we, if you're watching this program and you're learning a lot about it, and we have our June 6th event coming up, tell someone who may not see the program, or tell someone who's not connected in a way about this so that they could participate as well and, become more informed. Or share with them what you're learning hearing these experts talk about this today. Because the more we could help one another, the stronger we become to fight off all these perpetrators that are out to get our life savings. This is very, very important, folks, and it's something I think that we have to take really seriously. Which then reminds me, before we start to wrap up here, about our June 6th event at the Senior Center in Grafton. We're going to begin at 10:30 a.m. Older adults, their caregivers, family members, they're all invited to attend. You all are invited to attend, and you will receive guidance and information from professionals like the chief. Karl will be there. There will be folks there from the Secret Service, from the Securities and Exchange Commission, from AARP Massachusetts, and they're all going to share their comments and their guidance on how to recognize these different scams and what to do to stay safe from becoming a victim. There's no charge. This is all free. This is thanks to Homefield Credit Union. Karl, we could give him a big round of applause when you say him in town. But we do ask, because seating will be limited, so we do ask that you register by calling the Grafton Senior Center. That phone number is 508-839-9242. There will also be a complimentary luncheon after the discussion where you'll have an opportunity to talk to those that were presenters and enjoy a lunch too, also courtesy of Homefield Credit Union. So we look forward to having you join us, for this event. Help us spread the word, tell others about it. This is June 6th again at the Grafton Senior Center, beginning at 10:30 a.m. in the morning, and we'll probably get done just before lunch, have our luncheon, and really enjoy the day and become more educated and informed to stay safe. As we wrap up, Shannon, when you consider all the programs offered at the Senior Center devoted to enhancing the well-being of older adults, what's your take on this upcoming educational forum? How would you encourage older adults to attend?
Like we've been discussing, scams are just becoming more and more prevalent. Technology continues to advance so rapidly where it's hard to keep track of. And so this is such an important opportunity to really learn to look for those red flags about how to recognize if something's a scam or not. And so it'd really be great for everyone to come join us. It'll be a good time. Lunch is included. That's always a bonus. So please join us on June 6th.
Wonderful. And Chief, what's your take on this as well? Do you think this is important for the community and for older adults to come out?
Absolutely. Any venue we can put this out on, it's definitely important. And, we talked about before about this, some elderly are embarrassed. We've had elderly persons, but a doctor from out of town that I remember years ago, tens of thousands of dollars, that an intelligent person, as I said, a physician, that, had an institution here, and they were scammed out of money. So it happens to everybody. These people are very convincing. They're professionals, for lack of a better term. All right, and as you mentioned, they're everywhere, and it's like cold calling for real estate. I want to call to get a listing. So they get a book in front of them, or they have whatever. You make 100 calls a day. If you can scam 2 or 3 people, you're making $10,000, $15,000. That's not bad for a day's work.
That's right.
So, and that's the way it works. And they just flip the chart and go to the next name if they get hung up on. So this is very, very important. And once again, I want to commend Homefield Credit Union with the work they're doing to make sure that when a customer comes in asking for an inordinate amount of money or in making statements or whatever, that they contact us, and that's very, very important. That's how we're going to save some people who are just steadfast and going to be a victim of the scam if nobody else intervenes. So I want to thank you for that.
And I think it is important. And Karl, for what the credit union is doing, I think it's also important to note that, when we have distinctions between banks, credit unions refer to those that go there for banking services as members. So this event that you're sponsoring on June 6th at the Grafton Senior Center, obviously it's open to the members of Homefield Credit Union, but it goes beyond that. It goes to the community itself. And I take it that the doors are open at the credit union should anybody, in town have an issue where I wonder if I'm being scammed, or that doesn't sound right to me and all, are they welcome to come to the credit union to get counsel, advice, help?
Absolutely, Walt. The credit union movement, for lack of a better term, has a motto: people helping people. It's just not the members. So by all means, if you have a concern, you want to reach out to anybody at the credit union, or you reach out to me directly, I'm more than happy to take the call, more than happy to meet with somebody that thinks they're getting scammed, et cetera, et cetera. So it doesn't have to be a member. All our doors are open to anybody.
Yep. And I think maybe the golden rule is that if you get approached or you get a call or something of that sort that sounds suspicious, do not act out of emotion and fear, but pause and always verify. It's always important to verify, and you could verify through contact with any one of our distinguished guests here today, or your other family members or another friend, but never act alone, never act out of fear, and never act quickly. Always verify. Chief, Shannon, Karl, thank you so much for being with us today. Again, this is going to be a prelude to the upcoming educational forum on June 6th at the Grafton Senior Center, beginning at 10:30 a.m. Once again, we'd like you to call and make reservations so that we need a count, right? Because seating's limited and we're going to serve lunch. And that phone number is 508-839-9242. Again, I'm Walt Laskos. Thank you for joining us.